All right, it says we are live. Okay, I had to restart my computer so you can already kind of pop that into the chat as well. I had a little issue with my camera and one of my cameras wasn't working, so I had to kind of play with it a little bit, and it always takes me a minute to remember rebooting your computer is sometimes the best fix of those issues. So thankfully it fixed it and everything's working and ready to go. So on that note, I'm going to sip a couple sips of my tea as I give everyone a minute or two to get in here now that we're going. And yes, I see Henry mentioned already. Today was our release. It just went live at 9 a.m. this morning. It's kind of something new we've started. We're pushing it a little bit later, gives a little more time so everyone doesn't have to get up as early. It also gives the benefit of doing that means our workday has started. So if there's any issues with the release or we run into any bumps, we're there and ready to fix them. And we can make sure everything's good to go. So it's kind of just helpful all the way around. So that way you know. And I'm super excited to see who ordered those blending brushes. I am still just in love with those, and I hope you guys are loving those too. Thank you, Cheryl. I have a hair appointment this afternoon, and it's going to be getting cut, but it was kind of getting long and bugging me today. So, and then I braided it and went, maybe I do like it long. So you just can't win. That's okay though. I'm excited to get one last cut here and get kind of back to things. All right. So I'm going to be using part of today's brand new release. I'm going to use the Playful Petals set. I'm going to be using both the stamp and the press plate kind of two different ways and putting them to use. I also have put it over here. I'm kind of discombobulated with my computer reboot. Got that all out. So I'll switch the camera around in just a second and we'll take a look. As Kenry said, we stocked lots of the brushes. That's good because I have a feeling everyone's going to flock to those. I'm in love with them. I'll probably be using them a little bit today for one of kind of some of the background. They blend like butter. They're so beautiful. They're easy to hold in your hands. We've been waiting a really long time to get these large brushes perfected, and I really feel like we did that. Oh, okay. I think that's Mandy under iCard, everyone. You know what's funny is I didn't realize till I put the shirt on, the colors I'm using for my card today are kind of in the same color. So apparently this shirt kind of inspired my card today. So you're not the only one. All right, so a couple things here as we get started. It's been a couple weeks, so I have to kind of get my brain back in it. First of all, welcome. We're so glad you're here. If this is your first time joining us live, please leave a little comment in the chat and let us know that this is your first time. We love to welcome you. You may have noticed already behind the Pinkfresh Studio name is Kinnery. She's the owner of Pinkfresh. She will be the name behind the Pinkfresh Studio name today in the chat. Leah's going to be working on some other things while I create a card today. We also give away a $15 gift card at each of these lives. The way you enter for that is just what everyone's doing already. Leave lots of comments in the chat. You can ask a question. If you happen to know the answer to someone's question, just enjoy talking with each other and visiting. We always have a great time in these lives. And one other way that you can enter is by sharing this video. There should be a share button somewhere under, or you can grab the link from your browser, depending on what you're watching on. And pop over and share that either in a message to a crafty friend, an email, instant messenger, anything like that. You can also post on your own social media, Facebook, Instagram. Or if you're part of a crafty group and you know it's allowed in the rules, just double check that. You can also post it there. And then come back and leave a little comment letting us know that you shared. That's the only way we know, and that'll count as another entry that will get picked at the end of the live today. Let's see. And then one other thing, it doesn't count as an entry to give away or anything, but we just are really grateful is if you hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the live. It just helps our reach, helps more people find us now while we're live and also later on replay. And then one final thing, the main supplies that I'm using on today's card are all linked in the video description. So if you have any questions, you can hop over and check those out. I'll try and leave the inks out that I'm using as I'm going, and also watch for questions as I go along. And I might have missed some others that went by that I just saw. I don't know how to say your name for sure. Delise, if I'm saying that right. This is your first visit, so welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And I will likely miss some of those as I start crafting. I've got kind of a lot that I'm planning on doing today. that's just how it goes. So I might get a little more focused on this. So if I miss any questions, Kinnary should be able to hopefully answer them. Feel free to ask again if I need to answer it or if we both miss it. And I'll try and just kind of keep an eye on those. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna let Kinnary answer. So bear with me here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my camera around and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, love that moment where it just kind of pauses awkwardly. All right, so we've got the cameras switched around. Here's the main of the new release supplies that I'm going to be using today. This is Playful Petals, and we're going to kind of do something a little unique. There's something kind of fun with this set that we're going to play with and do. And then we've got the Here For You sentiments, and I'm going to kind of mix and match, I think, with one of the secondary sentiments in the kit for a stamp set. I can talk. And then finally, this great new essential standalone die, the blanket stitched Octagons. It's just kind of a really great basic set that we're going to use to kind of create some panels. So first things first, I'm going to use the stamp set, but I'm actually going to start with the press plate to create a little bit of a textured background on my card. So we're going to pull out our BetterPress machine. I have a little bit of just the Letterpress, BetterPress cotton cardstock here. Yeah, a little bit of that yellow tape that comes with it. I'm just going to carefully tape this in a couple little spots in the corners. I'm going to have a frame over it so the outer edges won't quite show, so I'm not super worried about that. So I'm just going to tape two corners and not really overthink where I'm placing the tape. Sometimes I try to be a little more careful on that. So, all right, so first things first, I don't want this just plopped in the middle. I actually kind of want to do it so that it kind of tucks around a little bit. I just want to kind of as far down and out here as I sort of can just to get a little bit of an interest in the panel. And I want to do it on both sides. So I'm going to use the quadrants of this to kind of make sure that I'm not going to end up with it overlapping. So you can kind of see I'm going as far over to the edge as I can and just making it so a little bit of it shows because I'm going to rotate my top plate so I get both parts. So I'm going with really fall colors, kind of orange and red and yellow. So I picked the softest yellow, so I just kind of get a little bit of a gentle background on this. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up here with a little bit of lemon whip ink. And I always say, kind of the way the BetterPress, they show their inks, you kind of do a twisting motion, and you can do that. I've actually found just setting it down really gently and just letting the weight of the ink pad, I'm not pushing down at all. I'm literally just kind of holding and scooching it around so it gets a little bit of ink everywhere on the press plate. And we also love that the BetterPress works really well with our Pinkfresh ink. So that's allows us to kind of coordinate things good. All right, I'm going to put that top layer on there. Just something fall out on me there. And let's run this through and see how this comes out. All right, I'm going to keep this handy. I'm going to set it aside just for desk space purposes because we are going to do the other side. Oh, and that came out just lovely and perfect and nice and soft. I've got a couple little fuzzes, I think, from probably last time I cleaned my plate when I used it. So that's totally on me, but that's not even going to show or be worried. So it's might be hard to see on camera, but it's a beautiful, soft, just kind of a gentle background there and that beautiful texture from the press plate. So now I'm going to rotate this around and we're going to do the other side there. So same thing, I'm just going to gently ink this up. Make sure I get a good layer of ink over there. And then let's run this through one more time. Lisa Coley, yes, the press plates are multi-purpose. They work for hot foil as well as BetterPress. That's why we started moving to them. They foil beautifully and it's kind of a two-in-one sort of design. Goodness, I just feel like I just must have shed fuzz everywhere today. So it won't hurt anything and it looks like it's fine. And I actually lucked out even the way I put that yellow tape on there. I picked the perfect corners because it didn't even overlap. So even if I wanted to just use that entire panel as is, I still absolutely could do that. But this is just going to be a beautiful, soft, subtle backdrop for our card today. So I'm going to set that aside here real quick. I'm just going to do a quick little clean of this. I found just a little bit of water sprayed on there, and a clean cloth does a great job of getting the Pinkfresh ink off of there. Detail black can be a little more tricky, so definitely make sure and clean that well. All right, and we're done with the BetterPress. I'm going to put that away. Just double checking, making sure I'm not missing anything in the comment. All right, so now that we've done this, let's move on here. The rest of this set. So one kind of unique thing on this that we really love on this set, the Playful Petals, it has got not only the die that cuts out the entire image, there's also a die that just cuts out those extra blooms. So what you can do is you can stamp this 2 times, ink blend the whole image, and then ink blend those and pop them up for dimension. Or what I'm going to do now that I've used that whole image for the background, I'm just going to use those flowers to kind of build some clusters around my frame. So I'm going to end up stamping this twice, but only really worrying about this center part. So let me grab, oops. These all have plastic things on the floor to trip on. Trying not to slide out of place. All right, so I'm going to grab my little mini Misty. Actually, you know what? Take that back. I'm going to grab my big one since I'm going to be trying to stamp kind of off direction a little bit. So I'm going to line up this in the corner here because I am going to do double stamping. And I think if I place this just right, my hope and plan here. Yes. Okay, hold on. I gotta do the mental gymnastics here to make sure I can rotate that around. There we go. I'm actually going to, nope. Hold on. This might not work how I'm thinking, but I think I can, there we go. I think that'll do it. That's what I wanted to do. I want to just fit those flowers on there. And then I think if I do this right, if I don't, I'll just grab another panel and it'll be okay. I'm just trying to kind of conserve paper right now. That's really the only reason I'm being so careful on how I do this. Okay. Set that aside. I'm just gonna stamp this in Rocky Slope for now. Later, I'll stamp it in Detail Black after we ink blend. For now, I'm just gonna stick with, and again, I'm really only focusing on the flower portions. Oops, I guess I didn't finish inking that little flower. Good thing for the Misty, right? Okay. You know what? I think I double stamped on that. So let's see if it works though. At least I can get one off of here anyway, right? Okay, let's make sure that doesn't shift. And it looks like it wouldn't have quite fit on there anyway. So let's just kind of revisit this. I'll just use the back of this for one of these. And I'm just going to kind of cut the idea of worrying about, I'll leave the top free because then I can still use it for sentiments and things like that. But right, let's try this again. Like I said, I'll just use 2 panels and then we'll just save the extra for, my goodness. I'm telling you, today is not my day. Okay, looks like we got it there. Let's make sure it still lines up and stamps how I want it to. Good, okay. At least I didn't screw that up too awfully bad, right? I see lots of chatter. Sorry, I know I'm missing lots of comments right now as I'm trying to figure out my stamping issues. Just goes to show it happens to the best of us, right? Okay, I'm not going to worry about stamping that too much more now because I know it's lined up and good. But let's go ahead. I'm going to leave this in my Misty because I do want to restamp that at the end with detail black. I want to make this nice and crisp and really well detailed at the end. But in the meantime, pull out the stencils. And we don't need all of the stencils today. We're going to be able to move through this a little bit quicker. So we're going to want this one that's going to do, which is stencil 2. This is also kind of a good point to note. You might look on here and notice it says 5-piece stencil. And if you look at the reflection here, you have stencil 1. And then you have stencil 2, which also down at the bottom has stencil 3. It's just kind of a way that we were able to kind of conserve on some stencil layers. So then the third full stencil says stencil 4. And that's on purpose because stencil 2 actually has stencil 2 and 3 on it. And then you have stencil 5 and stencil 6. So we're really only going to be focusing on using stencil number 2 and stencil 3, which are all on one piece. So I also think that's kind of cool how it worked because that's literally the piece that works with the die that we have as well. Apparently I got ink on my finger and smudged, but at least it was somewhere that didn't matter. All right, so one at a time, we're just going to work through both of these stencil layers. And I'm kind of using a little bit of a blend of ink colors. Again, I mentioned I kind of wanted to do some really fall tones. Let me pull those out here. I've only got 2 ink stands, so we're just going to kind of have to rotate through. But I'm going to use mostly mango sorbet and candy apple, but also a little bit of sweet mustard. So we'll probably start lightest and work our way up to darkest. So let me pull out my blending brushes here. Okay, so we're going to start with sweet mustard. I picked really deep colors. I want those really bold, pretty fall tones. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rotate through so the colors just kind of get progressively deeper as we go along. So I think I'm going to start here with some orange on this one. Maybe a little, I'm still going to do a little dab of orange. I'm sorry, I'm saying orange, but that's sweet mustard. Yellow, I know my colors. Okay, and then we'll move on and add, let's wipe off a little of that extra ink just so we don't get them mixed up. Then we'll blend on some mango sorbet. And again, you can see I'm going pretty bold on these. I'm not really worrying about a super soft blend. I'm going to come back and blend around that line there with that sweet mustard just to kind of soften that line a little. Just because I felt like that got a little harsh. Soften it a little bit there more with that. And then we're going to come back. Oh, I forgot. We need a little bit of orange. Like I said, I'm making that the kind of the really deep one. So I'm mostly covering that yellow on that just so that it kind of gets even deeper. Now let's move this one out of the way and move on to candy apple. And on this one, same thing. We'll just kind of blend that in there, do a little across, and then come in nice and deep over here. Again, back a little bit more with that mango. And just kind of back and forth until I'm pretty happy with the blend. So the yellow is going to be mostly just kind of an undertone on there. So looking about like what I'm hoping for. So let's kind of clean that off a little, and that will be our first one. And I'm just going to keep going on this and move up to do, I'm going to have to pull this off now too, I see. I'm gonna do that second little layer on the flowers, and that's just gonna be even more deeply blended to get that really good. Actually, you know what? As I'm thinking about it, I was gonna say more deeply blended, but I'm almost pondering. Actually, I think I'm gonna do that one a little bit lighter on those tucked under parts. So actually gonna go back and make those more sweet mustard heavy on this one. A little bit on there as well. And then we'll do just a tiny bit. I think having those peeking out under a little lighter is kind of a fun unexpected. So go a little heavier on the mango sorbet there. A little lighter on the mango sorbet on that one. Let's see, I think I kind of like that. Gonna be, yeah, that'll work. That's kind of a fun look. Look at how those just look like sherbet. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other one. So let's just rotate our way right back over to these. And just for variation, I might try to slightly switch up and do the colors a little different rotation. Maybe keep them a little softer. Those ones were pretty bold. So let's see if we can kind of rotate around. Let's do the yellow in a different location this time for fun. Just so they don't look, too identical. All right, take that extra off. And then I'm gonna be a little more delicate here on I wanna kind of rotate these through to get a bit of a softer, different look for fun. Just kind of sounds, then we can pick which ones we like better, but we'll still have a similar look with, that was not the right one, that's okay. All right, nice and soft on that. And then over to a little candy apple. I did get that on my finger, so I'm gonna have to be careful there. Okay. Put a little tiny bit off on that yellow line. Okay. Liking that. All right, let's go. See, we just got like a little bit of different contrast and look there. I did realize too, we might go ahead. I think there's still one stencil that does the center of all these flowers. So we might still go ahead and do that, but go for a softer blend on this one too, since we went softer in our overall blend. Okay, just use what was left over on my brush on that to keep that softer. There we go. So not a huge difference, but kind of a fun little bit of contrast on there. And then if I could just mention that, let's see if I can figure out it's the final stencil. Yep. All right, so stencil number 6. And for this, we'll just do a good solid candy apple probably for the middle of those. These are just going to be an itty bitty little part of these. So quite frankly, they might end up covered with bling anyway, but just in case, we'll make sure we get them inked and covered in case we leave them open. So, but if we cover them up with bling at the end, this only took a second, so I don't mind spending the moment to do that. There we go. That looks kind of pretty. Does add a little touch of contrast. So same on this one, same thing. Just blend it in there and good. Okay. I'll clean these stencils, of course, better a little bit later. Let me get some of this moved out of the way. Now that we're mostly done with our blending. To kind of make space so that I don't have things in my way. So next up I almost said I needed to die cut these, but first we need to restamp them so we get that crisp black edges. So let's get these tucked up in here. Make sure they're lined up in that corner. Looks like it still lines up perfectly, so that's what we want to see. Grab my detail black and time for that moment of truth. A scary moment. Where's my, there it is. Stamp press. And again, I'm not worrying about the rest of the image because oh, beautiful. That lined up perfect. I only want those flowers. So there's no sense wasting my time and energy and ink and everything on the rest of the image. What I'm going to say though is I just look at this. Kind of a fun idea I hadn't even thought of. Look at how pretty that whole image in black with just the flowers as a pop of color. That would be really pretty. I'm actually looking at that now and going, I actually really like that look. I hadn't even thought of that, but that's such a fun modern, and that would be really cool to stamp in the background in the black and then pop up those flowers. Now I really want to make the card that way. So that might have to happen somewhere down the line here, but for now, I don't know, you never know. We might pivot on this one anyway, but for now I'm still staying this course for the moment. If we change our mind, then you never know. Ah, this looks so pretty with that crisp black over the top. Goodness. I just love those really rich, bold colors. All right, one more. Let's figure when you have a scene, you can restamp as many times as you want. You might as well do that. Okay. Now we have both of those ready to die cut. I'm going to quickly clean off my stamp here. Get that detail black off of there. If I end up stamping it again, we'll clean it again when we get to that. But I know I'm really having second thoughts about we're going to keep this handy. If we might get to the end and decide we want to stamp and layer that over the top. You never know. But for now, I do know I still, no matter what, I want to die cut these. So let's go ahead and get started with that for now. So I'm going to take my time and just get these lined up in place. Okay. And then I will die cut this and be right back. All right, one down. Oh, those blooms are so, so pretty. That in place and lined up. And be right back again. Right, Holly, that's why I wanted to use this set today, because I wanted to kind of show that little tidbit on these. Such a fun, unique. So again, there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can stamp the whole image and then, like take that stamped image and just pop only those flowers up over the top. Or as I'm looking at this now with the negative space, you could pop the front part and put the flowers behind too. Maybe turn them into like a little shaker element. I mean, my brain's just buzzing with fun ideas now as I'm playing with the set a little bit more. I did use it for the release, but I used the hot foil and I didn't use the separate layer. So I'm kind of seeing lots of fun ways to use them now. So currently what we have planned is I have this BetterPress panel that I did at the beginning with the lemon whip cardstock. And I want to create a frame, kind of a window frame to go through this using the blanket stitched octagons. And I think I'm going to do the second because I just want to create a window in this panel. So let's get that kind of taped in place here. And I'm going to use the negative space, but we'll keep the die cut frame for something else, of course, because it makes it a lovely dual purpose. So let me die cut this off camera. So here we've got this piece that I'm going to save, this panel, for something else with that beautiful stitched edge on there. Let me put that on there. And then I did already, so saving this, something else. So I have this panel that I want to pop over here, and that's going to frame that up. And then a little before, just because I wasn't sure how I was going to be doing for time, I have this piece that I die cut and created a window. This is the ivory glitter cardstock. And I used that same outer frame that I used to cut that window and then the next size one. And by doing that, you can create these fun frames. So I want to kind of inset that in there is my plan. So we're going to get a lovely little window and then frame that up. Can you see that how that lovely BetterPress shows through that window? And then we can kind of tuck these little blooms, this is my plan, around a little bit on the outside of the frame to add a couple little fun clusters. I think that's going to work perfectly. Just a couple little clusters to kind of offset, and then we can pop our sentiment in the middle there. Add a little bit of foam. Let's see. Ink blend bold in the background cover with vellum. Yeah, that would be a great idea too. There's just so many possibilities with all of this. All right, one final thing. I want to add just a little more color to the background where that letterpress is. So let's pop these off to the side. And I'm going to grab one of these large blending brushes. And I was debating on just doing yellow for tone on tone, but I think I want to add slightly more contrast. So I'm going to use a little bit of Sunkissed ink. Ink stand here so I don't get ink all over my desk. And I'm gonna just blend a little bit around the edges. And this will show you a little bit of just how amazing these blending brushes work. Just when we say like butter, I mean, I truly mean they blend like butter. Oh, and that's perfect. This is gonna really just make that letterpress pop a little bit on there. I feel like it makes that texture just show a tiny bit more. And then we'll check our frames on here and make sure we like how much color we put on. And then we can always blend it a little deeper if we want. Okay, let me quickly, oops, that's one. Let me clean my desk a little bit here just so I don't get ink all over everything. Tiny dab of rubbing alcohol. I hate having that ink get away and get on things. Okay, move those little clusters off of here. I think this is gonna be perfect little bit of soft color on there. We could blend deeper, but I think it's actually kind of pretty as is. Really quickly, I just want to check and see. No, I definitely like that white frame around the outside. That does kind of help help just keep it from getting too bold. I think I'm actually going to blend just a little more because with how far in that frame goes and covers, I think we can blend a little deeper further in and just kind of bring that color in a little bit more. So we're still leaving a little bit of kind of a white pop in the middle, but, and don't worry if that's smudged a little dark on the outer edge there, because that's not going to show. There we go. All right, that's what I was hoping for. So let's move this out of the way. Little rubbing alcohol, clean the desk again so nothing gets where I don't want it to be. Inky fingers are bad enough. We don't have to add desk to, right? Okay. Then we just need to pick a sentiment. And I'm going to quickly, let's just tape these together from the back. This will be easier. So I'm just going to pop them up together. I'm not going to add any additional foam layers here between. So I just want this all to work as one piece. And by taping them together, it's going to make it a lot easier to just adhere together. And I don't need as tiny a foam strips as I might otherwise. Right. Get you on there. And another little piece for there. And half as well. I wasn't even trying to cut those so perfectly in length that it actually worked just right. Okay, let's get this adhered on here. You could also make this a shaker card. I'm not going to do that today. I will add some bling, but make a really pretty shaker card too. I'm going to add that as a thought. All right. Let's see if I can get this lined up just right on there. All right, look at how pretty that is framed up. It's so just elegant and all right. So that's beautiful on there. So now we just need to tuck our little floral clusters around there and pick a sentiment. Before I adhere these down, I think I want to confirm what sentiment I want to use, just so that we can get it all placed in there just right. So like I mentioned, I want to use, where it is down here. Excuse my messy desk here for just a second. Trying to find the, somewhere I lost my backing piece for this same set, but it's clear and it's probably hard to see, so I'll deal with that in a little bit. But at least for now, I know I want this little secondary sentiment. So today calls for celebration. So let's pick which one of these. I guess celebrate makes really good sense with that today calls for a celebration. Best wishes would also work. Cheering you on. I kind of like the idea of the celebrate. I think that that makes really logical sense on here. So I think we'll go with that one. So let's get those stamped and ready to put on here. For this, I am going to pull out my smaller Misty. And I'm got those extra pieces from our stamping. One's a little bit messy, but this one's still in good shape. So let me just trim off some of the extra. I'll use that one for layers. And kind of wondering, stamping that large celebrate in colored ink. So I might try that. Let's just see how it looks stamped in mango sorbet. I think I might have been saying mimosa when I was using this one earlier. I did use Sunkissed for the background, but on the ink blending, I think I was saying mimosa, but it was mango sorbet. All right, there is where to celebrate. Let's see how this looks stamped. Actually might look really cool on this card. Stamping gently 2 times so that I get good impression. And that's going to soften a little bit as it dries. So have no fear there. And then put that one over there. Add upside down, huh? Add this little secondary one. I have some little scraps of cardstock here. So I'll just stamp that on a little spot on there. Get that one lined up there. And we'll just do this one in detail black. Ooh, okay, I'm flinging things around. My grace and coordination seem to be slightly lacking today, but that's okay. I stamp this a couple times. Being careful to keep didn't clean my stamp off there. I'm noticing a little bit of gunk on there. Let's see if that stamps better. It did, but I kind of messed up already. So let's rotate that around. That's why we have extra cardstock, right? That doesn't work. I haven't, might need to pull out an eraser. You know what? I think I am going to do that. Let me clean this one off a little. I haven't cleaned this stamp yet. I bet it has a little something on it there. So I'm going to pull out this little eraser. Let's do a good shimmy over that. Get all the that dust off of there. All right, that's probably going to work much better. I'll grab this dry cloth to make sure I don't have any water on there. And then let's try another one of those cardstock scraps. I'm so glad I have lots of those. Sometimes it's good to condition. I don't always remember to do that on a new stamp set. That's much better. And then you can stamp out and get that better crisp sentiment. Okay, that one was my fault. I have a little spot on the top of today. I think there's a tiny bit of eraser line. Fourth time is the charm, right? This is going to be the one. I know it. There, perfect. When at first you don't succeed, try again. One more. Beautiful. Okay, we have that secondary sentiment. Let's clean that off real quick before anything else gets on it and gets it gunky. I should see my desk right now. It is not heavy. I can tell you that. All right, let's get the dies out to use for this one. And then we're also going to want the die again. Oh, nope, actually this one doesn't have a die, so never mind on that. But we do need the die for this one. All right. We'll take a minute. I love that this sentiment set, Leah did use this last week, so you probably saw it. It's so fun how it is, the one piece are great and I love them, but sometimes you just want one sentiment like we're doing today. And both the press plate and the stamp work so great that you can just choose which one you want and do that one or put it directly on your project or anything. So, right, Gail? We absolutely all do. Absolutely all do. It's always kind of encouraging to see someone else do it and go, oh, it's not just me. I guess there's just some camaraderie in it, I guess. You don't feel like you're the only one. And you know what, that one's wide enough. Normally I'd cut extra layers, but I really don't need extra layers because I can easily put foam on the back and we won't have to worry about it. So you can keep the end strips for floating circles and squares. I think I missed, oh, someone talking about scraps. Ah, okay. I was thinking I missed something on what I'm working on here and I didn't want to do that. All right, our good sentiment that's right there. I'm gonna trim this down into a little strip. And then wait to trim this down till I decide how we want to pop it on there. I think we'll just trim it down into a little bit of a banner shape. And then decide how to tuck these. Decide if I want. I think I do want them to kind of go in like that. I like that little one underneath. It adds a perfect little pop of extra dimension under there because it kind of layers underneath. Perfect. All right, foam strips on this. So we know that's going to need to go on the foam. And seeing that comment, colored ink on a sentiment instead of black. Something I don't do very often, but when I do, it always is, it just kind of gives a different look, doesn't it? I kind of forget about it sometimes. I feel like I more often think of it and get all experimental in lives and decide to do it then. So, and I always love the result. Not always. There's times when I'm like, nope, and I revert back to the black, but most of the time, it's a really fun, different look. All right, and then I think there's only one other thing that I might add on this, and I think we've still got time. So I'm gonna get that sentiment on there, hopefully straight. There we go. I'm gonna trim this down into just a little banner. Let's have my little quick trick where I snip it in and then cut into the center from the two corners. Leah has her different method that she does, and this one works really well for me. So find your trick of how you like to make banners because it's just a great way to quickly make a versatile little fun trick for your little secondary sentiments like that. Okay. I think I'm going to pull out one other new item from the release because I think this needs a little bit of fun flowers stacked around. So actually, right, Leah used this one last time and it's awesome with the stencils, but it's also really fabulous to just use to cut out some of the greenery pieces like this. So I'm just going to tuck and pretty much just cut the half off with the greenery there. So bear with me a minute. I'm going to die cut that and then we can tuck some of those in. If it's die cut well, it looks like it did. I wasn't quite sure if I needed the bubble mailer. My plates are a little bit warped, so. Then we can have a few of these. And that tuck around there. I feel like it needs a little added something, you know? We'll see. We're just going to have them ready. I think I have a few others die cut as well. That one probably could have used the bubble mailer. That was on the warped spot of my plates, but I think I've got enough here with these and I have some more cut if I want to, but let's try and get some of these stuck down first. One more on there because I know I want to pop this up with foam. And then the flowers, I think I'll just stick down with liquid glue because I think those are going to be adequate on there. I actually want to just ever so slightly. A little bit of the edge of that banner under the celebrate, just so it feels more joined together. And we'll fluff up these flowers, pull out our liquid glue. And these are the ones you really won't see at the back, thankfully, because and fluff that one up a little bit. Gail, yes, the bubble mailer goes under um, on the bottom. So it's the bubble mailer, the paper, and the die on top. So basically the die is cutting through the paper into the bubble mailer, if that makes sense. All right. And let's do the same thing on these. Flip them up slightly. Just that little touch of dimension there. And notice I'm kind of swapping the flower that's on top so they don't look too similar, if that makes sense. And I just kind of mixed and matched which ones went. So I've got like a couple of the lighter flowers I think up here and a couple of the darker ones down here. So just kind of a rotated around a little bit. All right, and then let's see. Yes. Okay, that is exactly what we needed. I'm so glad that I grabbed a few of those to tuck in here as well. Needed a little bit of added interest there. Okay. One of those. Put those around in there. Okay. I'm loving that. That's absolutely what these needed. And a couple of these up here. It's the perfect little tone on tone bit of interest on there. So we've got time. We've got time. I'm going to go ahead and just get these glued in, and then we'll see if we can sneak a little bit of bling on there, and then we should be able to wrap this up right on time here, I think. Get a winner posted and announced. Sorry, getting really quiet here as I put these little guys in here. This card just felt like it needed a little bit of something, and it's worth the extra. And then yes, bling. So now I have to decide what bling are we going to use on this? Decisions, decisions. Almost done with the flowers. Just a fully different card than I normally make, a really modern. And I love that it's kind of got a hint of fall to it, but not too far into fall. Let's put a little bit on this while we pick bling. Oh, and I see Kinney just announced the winner for today. So before I miss that going by, Linda Cook, you are the winner for today. Here's the close-up of this. Let's pull the bling out. We still got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna try and finish some bling on here. I'm kind of thinking that one's a good choice on there. And that red, let's see. Let's add a little bit of clear with that. That would work. That would be one good option. The pixie dust, that would be a good choice too. And I don't know if it's updated on there. Okay, so what Kinney just posted, Linda Cook, it says to email Leah at Pinkfresh Studio. We've just changed that. So you're actually going to email Heather at Pinkfresh Studio now. If you email Leah, don't worry, she'll forward it and get to me. But we're making that transition now that you'll be sending those to me moving forward. So If you want to go ahead and send it to Heather at Pinkfresh Studio, then it just gets it directly to me right away. All right. And I think I'm really leaning towards these. I'm not going to spend too much time overthinking. I really like these, so we're just going to tack a few of those on and go with that. I think that's kind of the perfect choice here today. So a little bit of Scarlet Clear Drops and a little bit of, remember here, Amber Clear Drops, and then just the Ice Clear Drops, which are just kind of your basic clear ones. And we'll tuck a couple of those on there. Let's see, do we want to put, gotta decide if I want to put, I do like that. A little one on each of those. Actually, that's really pretty. Okay, I think we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go alternate those. Keep the littler one for the underneath one there. That's actually really good. I could tuck some more on there, but I feel like that adds such a great quick pop there that, okay, let's make sure I put these into the right spot. And then we're gonna, you know what? I started a minute late and we did all of this on this part and we're still gonna finish pretty much on time. The magic of life. I really thought I'd be going over here right by the end and I think we're gonna make it. So love just that, those pop of the clear drops. And I told you we might cover the middle of those flowers. So I'm not too shocked by that. Let's get a bubble. But at least we were prepared if we decided not to cover them. We didn't have to. Okay. All done for now. All right, let me show you this up close. Then I'll switch the camera around and say goodbye. Well, this is just a panel right now. I'll stick this onto a card base a little bit later. So it'll be on a card base. There's no point in wasting time on that. So real quick as I switch the camera around, don't forget to go check out the blog hop today. There's also a release video here on YouTube. And lots and lots and lots of giveaways along the way. Okay, there we go. I got the camera switched. So on the YouTube release video that Leah created, you have a chance to win this entire release, and it's a good one. And on the Pinkfresh Studio blog, the beginning of the blog hop, another chance to win the entire release. And then there's a bunch of gift cards up for grabs along the hop. So I hope you'll go check it out, go see all the fun inspiration, and go ahead and pick your favorites and go grab those. And I'll get this photographed and posted here shortly so that the photo's on here. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys again next week. And yes, you know what? Totally not planned, but look at how it's like my outfit matched my card today. That wasn't the plan, but it really worked. So, all right. Thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Check out the blog hop, Instagram hop tomorrow, and I will see you guys. I'll be back next week. Leah did a couple weeks in a row, so we're kind of playing catch up back on me. So see you again soon. Have a good rest of your week.